Hey, Ben. Ben, you gotta call me back. Ben, give me a call back.
Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. I hope all of you are having a great week, and it's going to be a short one here for us here at the program where, Thursday and Friday, yes, the most sacred holidays of Thanksgiving and Black Friday are being taken off by Computer America. And, just wanted to get that up front that we will be having a best of Computer America for those 2 days. But hey, for Monday through Wednesday, we have great programs lined up for you, including today's show, where we have a company on called Telestream. And, they do a lot of cool technology that makes what you watch, what we produce here at the show, and, just even more, just make it possible. So joining us today will be Mr. Tom Pren. He is the Senior Product Manager for Telestream, and he'll be joining us in just a moment. But before we get to that, a few things that I should mention, including computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything from, we have the show notes, which are going to have a link to our guest website. It will also have any articles that we do later on in the program, any videos that we watch, just anything that we talk about will be in one place for your convenience. Also, be sure to check out the social media contest, which is sponsored by Logitech, and we give away a prize. And I'm sorry, but we normally give away every single Friday. Obviously, Computer America will be off. We will still give away a prize, but we'll announce the winner Monday. There you have it. So Monday, we will have a winner, but they'll still be contacted Friday. And so check that out. And then the last thing is, of course, the live video feed where you can watch Computer America and not just listen. It's another great way to experience the show. Live streaming video. We are still a radio program, but hey, technology's gotten to the point that it just doesn't make sense not to live stream. So with that being said, again, you can check out all of that at computeramerica.com. But why don't we go ahead and get to our guest today, who is, again, Mr. Tom Pren. He is the Senior Product Manager over at Telestream, and he's going to, give us a quick overview of what Telestream is. But Tom, thanks for coming on Computer America.
Sure, no problem. I am looking forward to talking about what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess the best place to start would be at the beginning. Give us an overview of Telestream and how it kind of got founded, and then tell us about your background and how you got associated with the company.
Sure. The Telestream is in a small community called Nevada City, California. It's about 45 minutes from Lake Tahoe in the foothills, the Sierra foothills. And there's a kind of a sister city here as well, Grass Valley. Nevada City and Grass Valley is, interestingly enough, an enclave of video technologists. Since the 70s, there's been video technology located here. Some of the top companies that are in the control rooms across all types of television stations, over-the-top providers, telcos worldwide come from this area. The different types of technology, whether it's a video switcher, whether it's software, just a lot of interesting things. And you wouldn't know that. Nevada City is only 3,000 people, and the Grass Valley's 10,000. But it started all back about 40 years ago. And from that time, there's been a lot of spin-offs from the original company, the Grass Valley Group, and Telestream is one of those spin-offs. And what's interesting about Telestream is that our software is made for transcoding. What that means is taking a video file and taking it from one format into many different formats that go to any type of device or platform around the world. We touch about 95% of what you see. Uh, so it's an interesting type of business to be in. I talk to all kinds of people, whether they're uh, big broadcasters like a CNN or an ESPN, all the way down to the local church on the corner
Mm-hmm.
or the video gamer in his basement. So there's quite a big, broad range of our customers. Now, we have two different types of groups at Telestream. One does the big broadcasters and does behind the scenes transcoding for them. And then we have a desktop group, which makes desktop applications with similar technology that we use for big broadcasters. The one that I manage specifically is the Wirecast family. Wirecast is a live streaming software that you could have on your computer or your laptop and create a professional broadcast, which I hope to tell you more about as we get into the details here.
Right. No, you've certainly given us a great overview, and this is something that personally I've been following very closely, and I think a lot of people. I think Facebook really has a strong offering. YouTube, of course, made it kind of cool to have your face up on the internet, and then of course Twitch.tv is something that we follow and participate very closely in here at Computer America. I mean, why don't you go ahead and tell people who maybe might not be as familiar with live streaming, what is live streaming, and kind of why is why does it seem to be popping up all of a sudden? Because it's you say you've been around for 40 years, but the idea that an individual, as you said, a gamer in their basement, or just a small organization, everyone seems to be live streaming, or at least has the capability to live stream nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, our software is inexpensive and it can be put on existing hardware that you have or a laptop. You can connect a camera very easily, any type of camera. You can even use an iPhone to stream. And you ask, why do people live stream? Well, to me, all live streaming is social, meaning that you're connecting with someone else, and they're connecting with you. And there's also can be real-time interaction with that audience. Live video is raw, it's immediate, it's authentic, it creates an emotional connection. It's the next best thing to a face-to-face conversation. It's real-time interaction with viewers. And we try to create software that's really easy to use, that's intuitive, that somebody can get up and running in 2 minutes. Actually, with Wirecast, you can set it up, plug in your camera, and start streaming immediately. Now, you mentioned Facebook, which has really created a watershed in live streaming, as the so-called tipping point, I think, because prior to that, YouTube Live and Ustream and a bunch of other Twitch, a bunch of other platforms were doing live streaming, but it didn't quite hit the mainstream of mom and pop or grandma and grandpa, really doing something that for their families. Or I had one employee here at Telestream actually live stream a funeral. So there's that sort of thing is never really isn't really part of those other platforms. Now, you mentioned Twitch, and of course, Twitch was a leader in that area of live streaming where there are individual gamers having broadcasting their gameplay for a couple of years before Facebook came along to live stream.
There was another organization that actually became Twitch. I'm currently forgetting.
Justin TV.
Justin TV. That's the one. We actually had him on the show. When he first started, and it was a really weird foreign concept, but man, it has taken off. And you're right. It's kind of grown from video gamers, and now just on the Twitch platform, I was just watching a cooking show, not too long ago. And like you said, Facebook, it's, took it from something that you have to be a content creator to just, hey, if you want to start to stream your everyday life, people will, at least people have the capability to watch you. They may not want to see you sit at the DMV, but they have the possibility to see you sit at the DMV.
Well, also creating a high production value type of broadcast. That's what Wirecast is about. Let me finish up with the
Sure,
the
sure.
social platforms. About two-thirds of Wirecast live streams go to social platforms in the past year. Now, how do I know that? Because we have telemetry that comes from Wirecast if you opt in to send us that. So two-thirds of the opt-in live streams go to social platforms, which, Facebook, YouTube, Ustream, and Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, all of
Right.
those. And we're even starting to be used in China, for example. Japan has a big streaming population. So it's all on social platforms as well. Now, interesting thing about Facebook and Telestream and Wirecast is that over the past 12 months, 1 million live streams of those opt-in numbers, 1 million live streams have gone to Facebook. I think that's an incredible number. It's not a phone app. It's, as I said, desktop software. And it's amazing that people really want to create a high production value type of broadcast. So let's dig into Wirecast a little bit. I think that's
Well,
really
yeah.
where.
Yeah, of course you're here to talk about Wirecast and kind of give everyone an overview, because here on the show, this is we've talked about how to set up live streams and things of that nature. We've reviewed, recommended, and seen a lot of different software. And I'm sure a quick Google search can kind of pull those up. But I found that of the ones I've tested, each one has their strengths, their weaknesses, and I think certain ones work better for certain people. Give us an overview of Wirecast 8 and who you kind of market this towards, and who would be, who would really take advantage of the features.
Oh boy. As I said, Wirecast has this incredibly broad range of users. So we'll have a church on the corner or a large church in a region uh, broadcasting to its constituents. And obviously, they want to service their congregants who can't make it to the church,
Mm-hmm.
but they also can gain new uh, adherents by wirecasting, if you will. Uh, we mentioned gamers, soccer leagues, kids soccer leagues, high school, football and basketball, colleges. The range of people who want to live stream is very broad. Again, sports is a huge area. From the top broadcasters like Fox Sports, for example, uses Wirecast. They used it during the World Series. They're starting to use it on NFL broadcasts. And these types of entities, like one of the first to buy a piece of hardware that we have called Wirecast Gear. It's a Windows 10 computer.
Mm-hmm.
The first customers, the New York Yankees and the Brooklyn Nets, that are owned by, the Yes Network is owned by those
Right.
teams and is the broadcasting outlet for them, and they do behind the scenes kind of stuff. So on the Facebook page of the Houston Astros, for example, uh, Fox Sports was doing before the game. They would just follow players around, watch them work out, warming up, getting ready for the game. During the game, they'd have other types of maybe an interview or something like that done off to the side. Again, not with the talent, the announcers that were on the regular broadcast, but some behind the scenes stuff. When the Astros clinched the pennant, there was a Wirecast camera in the locker room, and it was off to the side and was watching the entire celebration, or you could watch it on Facebook. You could even see the other TV crews with the announcers interviewing the victorious players. So it's interesting to get that behind the scenes flavor. Um, and as I said, CNN uses it, Fox Sports, ESPN, uh, churches, high
I
schools,
eh,
colleges.
Right, and that's a very diverse, kind of clientele you have going on there. And I guess my question is, what features do you think make it suitable for everything from newscasting to sportscasting to, places of worship to, just the individual trying to connect with an audience? Because, not everything is going to fit everyone's needs. Is this something to do with, you've really worked on the user interface? Because some we've tested, it's not very intuitive. What would you kind of peg as this is the reason that Wirecast is so successful?
Well, as I mentioned before, it's very easy to install and set up and get streaming within a few minutes. I think, again, to meet that broad range of users, we need to have a broad range of features that can be used by the beginner or the pro. So Wirecast is set up kind of like a video editor with layers, and you can start layering your scenes and shots, and you can preview them in an editing screen, so nothing goes live until you're ready. You can basically put in as many sources as you want, sources being cameras, video video cameras, a GoPro, an iPhone, a media file that you might have, still graphics, pre-recorded videos, sound. You can bring in a mixer, or you can directly connect to your computer. There's a pro audio feature in Wirecast, so it can be used for multi-language uh, streams. So you could have a stream in English, a mainstream, and also have a stream in French or Spanish or Japanese or whatever language you might want to put it into. There are 8 different tracks. There's 16 channels. It's very pro oriented. But if you're a beginner, you don't need all that. You just need your webcam with a microphone in the webcam or in your computer, and just point it and put the shot live. After authenticating to your Facebook account or to your YouTube account or to your Twitch account, and just start streaming. We've set up one of the early popular features of Wirecast was the whole concept of destinations with preset encoder settings, so that you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is authenticate to your account, and you're ready to go.
Are you telling me that finding out the bit rate, what all this means, your upload speed, setting up aspect ratios and resolutions, you're telling me that was a pain point for people? People didn't enjoy doing that?
A few did,
Right.
but the average user would rather have presets to work with. I know I would when I first started streaming about 5 years ago. It was really convenient to have everything done for you. Also, the other reason that we have presets is that the platforms want to optimize every stream, so they actually tell us what they want for presets, and it varies. We can stream 2K to YouTube. Facebook is mainly 720p. They did recently open it up to 1080p as a resolution. So that gets it optimized by having those presets.
So speaking of destinations, and folks, if you want to find more information, we have a link to Wirecast over at Computer America. But I was seeing here unlimited destinations. This is something that we've dabbled in. We're actually trying to figure it out ourselves, using other software. But it's not easy. But you guys offer it pretty natively, and it's the ability to stream to more than one platform at a time, and that is super interesting, because obviously if you are a television production or even a radio show, you want to connect to, or you don't want to make people leave where they're comfortable. You want to go to them. You want to go to YouTube and to Twitter and to Facebook and to Twitch and to Ustream and blah blah blah. And in a lot of cases, that's not possible. So talk about this unlimited destination feature you have.
Well, let me first tell you that there are a few gotchas in live streaming, and that is related to the destination question. The two gotchas really that stand out are the robustness of your computer and the strength of your connection, your broadband connection upload. So we always recommend, the highest or most robust computer you can afford because an i7 PC can stream up to 1080p easily with multiple sources. In i3, not so much. In i5, a little better, but you get the idea. As you increase your processor speed, as you increase your RAM, that all matters a lot. If you have a separate GPU, we do have hardware encoding as well as part of Wirecast, so you can utilize that. Now the other gotcha is upload bandwidth. So we recommend about twice the bit rate. So if you're streaming a 720p 30 frames per second stream at, let's say, 2 megabits per second, you probably want 4 megabits per second up. So you just have enough range in your bandwidth to cover the inconsistencies of the internet, because we all know it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And so you need a little bit more to make sure you have a strong, steady stream to your destination. So there are those limitations. So you can put 4 cameras in Wirecast. You can add some lower thirds, some titles, maybe a pre-recorded video. All that's running. Maybe you have a bug in one corner, which is your personal logo or whatever it might be, or your church's logo or your team's logo, and then start out streaming. And all of those, when I say high quality production, that's what I mean. You can actually create something that looks like a TV production. That's the whole idea behind Wirecast. And again, you can have all of those sources streaming to many destinations, but again, you are encoding video, and encoding is a pretty processor-intensive process on any computer, whether it's a Mac or Windows. Wirecast does streams from Macs as well as Windows, so you have your choice, and you can optimize hardware encoding on both. But again, it's how big your bandwidth is. If you have, let's say, 12 or 18 megabits per second up, you're going to have a wonderful streaming experience, and you'll be able to go to many different destinations. If you have 2 megabits per second up, not so much.
Right. Yeah, no, and very good that you mentioned, kind of the limitations, because the software can get you there, but streaming is very much dependent on what you have. I mean, some of the more dedicated streamers I've seen, not only do they have a computer, but they have a secondary computer that they essentially run the streaming off of, and then they have their gaming computer. And
Right.
they use like DSLRs instead of normal webcams. Like I've seen
Right.
$15,000 setups to do live streaming, just basic content, and that's not even a true professional such as Fox or something like of that nature. They'd probably have hundreds of thousands of production equipment. So so essentially you're saying that Wirecast can grow from, if you have a $500 computer, you can start out small, but you can grow as much as you need through this one software.
Absolutely. I mean, the software itself is fairly inexpensive when you think that you're creating a TV quality production on your laptop or on your desktop computer. I think that is really compelling. That's one thing that's why people gravitate towards Wirecast, is that you can really create a real TV production. You can record it too. Wirecast streams and records simultaneously. There's an ISO or isolated camera feature as well, so you can record, let's say, 4 ISOs, meaning that each of the 4 cameras is recorded separately. So there's many options.
Absolutely. So tell us about maybe the, you have here, what feature does Wirecast 8 have to enable a user to create a compelling live stream? And I guess that's what you were talking about with, multiple inputs, multiple, kind of video feeds and things like that. How intuitive or kind of how easily can people kind of do that? Because, if we're talking to, an individual here, um, getting the resources to actually make something like that can be, pretty hard if you don't know where to look. Do you have tutorial videos? Do you have customer support? If people wanted to add some of these higher level production features, where's the best place do you feel they should go?
Well, the resources page, the Wirecast features page, that would be telestream.net/Wirecast, and go to the resource page. The resource page has webinars, pre-recorded webinars. We have a live show actually every week on Thursday afternoons, Pacific time, that you can tune into on our Facebook page. We have ebooks on that resources page that describe all the features and how to set things up. We have different types of setup documents, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Also, we have a page of supported hardware devices. So once you get up into that range where you're using a lot of, let's say, a DSLR or other cameras, external cameras, not a webcam, you need to bring in that video, that raw video, into a computer. And this goes for any type of software like this. So you'll need to come through a video capture card. Now, the video capture card can be part of your computer, can be internal, which is something you would either add or you would add it when you bought the computer, or an external device, a breakout box, where you can plug in your cameras and then feed that into your computer, whether it's via USB, Thunderbolt, SDI connections, or HDMI connections. They're all optional options to put together a live stream with.
I gotcha. So, and one part here that I'm seeing pop up on your website a number of times that we haven't talked about, you say here that you can use it for education. So, I mean, for entertainment purposes, it's pretty obvious. What kind of added, what kind of added features, I guess, or interactivity do you get when you educate with this? What features do teachers kind of gravitate towards?
Well, I mean, you can show a PowerPoint presentation very easily. You can bring in another computer uh, and show let's say the desktop live as part of your presentation. There's a new feature with Wirecast 8 called Rendezvous,
Hmm?
and Rendezvous allows you to bring in multiple participants, much like a Skype call, a Skype video call might let you. This is a different type of technology. It's based on WebRTC, real-time communication. It's more like a Google Hangout than anything else. But Rendezvous allows you to bring in up to 7 other participants as well as yourself. So there can be 8 people engaged in a real-time conversation. The participants can share their screens, so they could be showing that as an example to a classroom. We have universities like MIT or Harvard that both live stream and record lectures. We have Wirecast used in operating rooms where for medical schools where the hospital is live streaming actual operations, which is really interesting and compelling as to how these things can be real time to anyone in the world.
Right. And Tom, I'm going to ask you, would you mind staying over for a couple minutes? We're about to hit a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about, we just talked about Rendezvous, but we'll come back, and you mentioned way back at the beginning about Wirecast gear and how you actually have a, kind of a computer. It sounds like that is kind of optimized to start running this kind of software because, as you said, the hardware, what you can output really depends on the hardware. So again, would you mind staying over so we can talk about the gear?
No, I'd love to.
Perfect. So everyone out there, the music means right there means we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. More Computer America, more Tom Pren from Telestream. And again, if you want to find any of the information that we're talking about here today, you can check out telestream.net, a link over at Computer America, and we'll be right back. So everyone stay tuned as we have more of this interview, as well as computer and technology news, brought to you by Fire Dragon Security.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 31 minutes past the hour as we continue on here, and we are still joined by Mr. Tom Pren. He is Tom Preen. He is the Senior Product Manager for Telestream. And Tom, I actually lied. We're going to talk about gear in just a second, but I actually wanted to run through some of the other features that I've been seeing here on the website, if you wouldn't mind, about Wirecast. And, so obviously we talked about different destinations. I see here you just added Vimeo Live. So, just another destination that you can stream to. Great to hear, and that you're adding support for it. Now, some of the other features I have not seen in other baked in, kind of software solutions. Could you talk real quick about Visual Setworks? Because this is something I haven't seen before.
Sure. Visual Sets and Visual Setworks sets are that's the developer, and I'll talk about a couple of relationships we have in developing Wirecast. One is around virtual sets, and a virtual set is something that you can put on your screen that's a virtual desk, a virtual background, a virtual wall. You can green screen, and we can talk about chroma keys as well, but you can green screen video playing on like a monitor on that particular set. You can place yourself on the set or another person to act as an announcer and an interviewer, that sort of thing. It's somewhat like when you have a set that's really professional and put together well and colorful and has all of these elements in them. On a live stage, you can do that for yourself. Again, we want this to be easy, and we're really shooting towards a single operator, and that virtual sets allow you to put yourself and others and other media into a broadcast and look like it's real.
Right.
You don't have to do the wall of your bedroom. This is what I would say.
But you do need green screen, and very cool that you do offer chroma keying. I mean, is that anything more complicated than just kind of selecting the color? Anything you'd recommend to get a good green screen effect?
Oh, lighting. Lighting is the main thing around green screen. No matter what sort of chroma key technology or color you use, really it's all about the lighting. And you should really test that and set it up beforehand, before your webcast, so that you get a good knockout of the color around a person's body or face, so that it doesn't bleed through. So lighting is crucial, whether it's it should be front and side lighting, backlighting. You have to be a little careful with backlighting, but side and front lighting are the most effective.
Right. And trust me, as someone who's done this before, it's it can be pretty hard if you don't have like there are some pretty easy solutions to it, but if lighting is not your forte, then it's certainly a learning experience. So something here I've seen on others, but you offer it, and I don't think I've seen it through Facebook, but you offer a way to actually import Facebook Live comments onto your stream, and that can be exciting for people who maybe watch it after the fact. So maybe they don't have the live chat room there, they can still see the comments, or people who just want to see the entire production, kind of full screen, don't want to have to pay attention to a chat. That information is brought up right there on screen as well. Talk about that integration. Is it only Facebook comments or comments from anywhere? And why did you decide to add these?
Well, it's as I said in the beginning, it's all about interaction with your audience. So it's really key to have some sort of chat, interaction, comments, some ways that the viewer can participate as well. I mean, that's the future really of video and communication, is being able to reach out from both sides of the screen, whether you're a viewer or the broadcaster. Let me talk about both Wirecast and our other software called Game Show, because they have
Sure.
two different types of interaction with viewers. So in Wirecast and Wirecast 8, we've been working with a company for some time called New Blue Effects. They're a professional graphics developer who put together software for film and television, and we've been working with them to develop software, computer graphics software for Wirecast. Now, we've been working with them over a couple of versions of Wirecast, and in this one, they've added Facebook comments into their software that's within Wirecast and can be utilized through Wirecast. By the way, if you buy Studio or Pro software, Wirecast Studio or Wirecast Pro, you get a free download of one of the versions of New Blue Effects. So
Nice.
I would, it's pretty high value type of software to add into Wirecast. And so you can bring Facebook and Periscope, Twitter comments in there, as well as YouTube. They can get that set up within the interface. We also have a separate Twitter feed that you can set up, and all of these, by the way, involve curation. And by curation, I mean that you can look at comments and chat and choose what you want to show. So you're not going to have necessarily a steady stream of comments unless that's what you want. Now, that kind of transitions us over to Game Show, which is a video gamers version of Wirecast. And in Game Show, we've integrated with a lot of the companies who've developed little plugins and widgets for gamers to use for donations, for running chat, for adding new followers, all of those types of things, which used to be through such widgets made by Twitch Alerts or other companies. And so that you can have, again, that interaction, and when somebody donates, and you can feature them, give them their 15 seconds of fame on your broadcast if they donate to your channel. Or when a new follower comes on, you can highlight their name and give them a few seconds of fame as well.
Yeah.
But it also
And I mean, just real quick, more to your point, for those of you who are, maybe are not familiar with live streaming, but it's certainly a feature that, when someone has an audience of 1,000 people, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people, it's easy to get lost in the masses. So if you donate, donating is very common. You actually, you kind of get to interact with the person that you're watching. As you mentioned earlier, Tom, that you kind of get that back and forth interaction. Yes, you do have to pay a little bit of money, but that's one of the main ways that they, kind of monetize what they do, and it gets their attention. And yes, their software, such as Game Show, that will put it up on screen. So glad to see that you've integrated that, because that is a huge part of what live streaming is currently.
Well, all of these integrations too, we try to make as easy as possible. So to get a Twitch alert into software, a few months ago was really difficult. You'd have to go to their website and use a copy of URL and place it in the software and so forth. But our integrations are seamless, so that within the Wirecaster game show software, you can bring up these types of features and widgets and pull them into your streams.
I gotcha, I gotcha. Yeah, and so obviously I see here gameshow.net. Looks like it's, you guys just started, let's see, October 17th is when you last updated, with the beta upcoming, so still a lot of work to be put into that, but hey, it's up and it's running, and you have a product. So yeah, let's wrap up the features, and then we'll move on to the gear. So we talked about some of the other software. Oh, and by the way, actually something I wanted to ask about the the comments, because I've seen other services out there that promise to do something. It's not the easiest thing to do, so I haven't really seen it done well. But you mentioned that you can bring in comments from Facebook or what have you. Do you have the capability, let's say if you're streaming to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube Live, could you pull multiple comments from multiple sources, or is it just right now just Facebook?
Well, you can, and again, it's using the New Blue software that's a plug-in to Wirecast. They allow you to set up, or that particular software allows you to set up multiple destinations or multiple services to bring in.
I gotcha. So no, okay, so makes sense. And let's see, there's Wirecast Go 2.0, which is obviously an iPhone app. If let's see, it in real life, IRL streaming has kind of gotten more popular, and so it's good to see that you were offering people the chance. Well, I guess Periscope would have been more popular than IRL streaming. So kind of like a Periscope kind of feature that you can live stream from a smartphone with Wirecast Go.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to do it, actually, which I'm really happy about. One is that we've integrated Rendezvous, the feature I mentioned before, on our iPhone app, Wirecast Go. So the way Rendezvous works, by the way, we didn't go over that, but the operator of Wirecast starts a rendezvous session. There's a dashboard. They create a URL, just one click, and they copy it, and then they send it out over chat or through email or whatever. And then you just click on that, whether you're on a computer or a phone. It actually works through Android phones as well. We don't have a special app for Android, but it will come through an Android browser easily as well. But you click on that on an iPhone, and it automatically launches the rendezvous session. And so on your iPhone, you're going to see all the participants as well as yourself in the rendezvous session. You can see them on your phone or on your computer screen, and you'll see everybody in the same session. Now, just a couple other details about Rendezvous. When you're the operator, you send out that URL, and then you get pinged as people click on the link and come into your session. You can put them in a green room. You can put them live separately or groups of them live. They can, as I mentioned, they can share their screens. You can take them back into the green room or back into the preview and then bring them back live. So you can go back and forth very seamlessly with that. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. It's very, very flexible and very powerful part of a broadcast to bring that in.
Right. No, it sounds extremely robust, and sounds like that's how you kind of get that polished, network TV kind of feel. So, these kinds of features are going to be, what a lot of other software out there won't actually offer. So, and Tom, I apologize for keeping over, but let's wrap this up by talking about the Wirecast gear, because like we were talking about earlier, building your own computer, that's an entirely different set of skills that maybe not everyone has. And if they just want to get into live streaming, well, there's a lot of technical stuff that they have to wade into. And again, if they don't have the mind for it, or they really don't care, it's going to be quite the slog. So let's talk about Wirecast gear. What is it? And I see here there are a few different versions of gear. So what's Wirecast Gear?
Right. So Wirecast Gear is a Windows 10 computer. Uh, Wirecast runs both on Mac and Windows, but obviously you're not going to create a Mac computer. So we created a Windows 10, an open machine, so you can put any types of software on there. But it does come with Wirecast Gear. I'm sorry, it comes with Wirecast Pro, and we're in the 8th version of Wirecast, so it's Wirecast Pro 8. Comes on each version. Each of the versions differs in its input. On the low end is Gear 110, where you have inputs for 4 HDMI sources. The Wirecast Gear 210 has 4 inputs for SDI, which is a little higher. That's run by, basically your viewers would recognize it as coax cable. Coming into Gear. And then the 230 has both in and out puts. So you can bring in 3 separate cameras, let's say over SDI, and then you can have an SDI out to run another screen, to run a projector, to run a Jumbotron if you wanted to. And Gear is a high-end consumer machine. It's not an enterprise class server, but it's about as high-end as gamer machines. It does have an i7 Skylake processor. It has 16 gigabits of RAM. It has DDR4 for moving video around internally. It has different SSDs. There's no moving parts in Gear except for the fan. So the SSD drives vary in storage capacity from the 110 up to the 230. The 230 has 2 terabytes, and the 110 has 500 gigabytes. So there's a lot of difference there. We also package Gear with the new Blue Effects software that I mentioned before, and ever increasing complex computer graphics software. So you can start out on the low end. If you're sports oriented, the 210 comes with new Blue Effects Tyler Sports, and then the Gear 230 comes with the whole Megillah, so to speak.
Right.
You also, by the way, one thing we didn't talk about is that Wirecast has NDI technology built into it. So you can both send and receive NDI signals across your local network. What is that? NDI is a special protocol developed by a video company called NewTek that helps move video around a local area network very fast. So you can actually run Wirecast from another computer on an NDI network. You can use NDI cameras, and basically you're moving video across an Ethernet, not across SDI cables or HDMI cables. So that's really gives you almost unlimited bandwidth with a large Ethernet pipeline. So it's amazing, actually, what you can do with that. So NDI is becoming a standard across lots of types of video hardware because it can move graphics so effectively.
Right. So, and I hate to put you on the spot, but here for Wirecast Gear, I'm looking at the design. It's beautiful, by the way. I mean, there's no way about it. You've put a lot of effort into designing something that people, kind of wouldn't mind having out and about. But I swear I've seen that design before somewhere. I can't put my finger. Did you partner with someone for the hardware, or is this all built in-house?
It's all built in-house. Actually, it's a custom chassis, which is interesting. I think maybe what seems a little bit more common are the vents for fans.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Wirecast Gear does have venting on the front and the back to keep your computer very cool when it's doing that heavy process of video. But actually it's a custom chassis. It's 1.3 RU, so it's a little bigger than a 1UI rack mountable box. This is also rack mountable, but you'll need 2 RU in your rack. It's not only is it a custom chassis, but a lot of the inside is custom designed as well.
I got you.
So making
Yeah.
sure that we have everything there. We also have Wi-Fi at 802.11 AC, which moves a lot of bits around on a Wi-Fi network up to 900 megabits per second. So on this particular machine, there's also USB-C, there's USB 3, so it's pretty robust.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us a quick rundown between the differences from Wirecast Gear 110, 210, and 230.
Okay, so as I mentioned, the inputs are different across the machines. The 110 has 4 HDMI, the 210 4 SDI, and the 230 both in and output on SDI. As I mentioned, the graphics software is different. The storage, the SSD drives are different across the three of them. Again, from about 500 gigabytes on the 110, 750 gigabytes on the 210, and 2 terabytes on the 230. Samsung drives and no moving parts. We do have, as I mentioned real early on, we do have an open system on Wirecast so that you can put any type of software on it. As I said, we ship it with Wirecast Pro and with New Blue Titler versions, as well as another piece of software of ours called Switch, Telestream Switch, which is a media player and allows you to actually analyze and do some transcoding on your local machine.
I see. So it obviously, if if you're going to be demanding more of your system, you're obviously going to go up and up on the scale all the way to 230. But very cool that you offer the hardware solution, but you also offer the software. So any kind of interplay that they have there, I see here you also offer a 3-year warranty. So everything out of the box, you're really sticking to your philosophy that everything should just work and everything should just be simple. So
right, everything it works. I mean, it right out of the box. Dallas Cowboys, for example, bought 2 gears not long ago to live stream some of their activities around their stadium before games and after games. It's very easy to just set up and start streaming. It's as easy as the software. We have the image, the Microsoft Windows image set up so that when you turn on Gear, it just comes up to the desktop. So you're all ready to activate your software, your Telestream, and your New Blue software, and you're ready to go.
very, very cool. And so we've almost exhausted the hour, but Tom, I want to give you one more chance. Anything that we missed, any feature that we may have glossed over?
I don't think so. I mean, there's so much to talk about with Wirecast. I could go on and on and on and on. I think it's easy to get a flavor of Wirecast. We do have a free trial that's on our website. You can download a version that's watermarked with both an audio and a visual watermark, but it has all the features. So you can test it out thoroughly and look at every feature, whether it's rendezvous or whether it's graphics or whether it's chroma keying or whether it's audio, so that you get a real flavor of what it's like, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Very, very cool. And if people want to find out more information, we have a link to telestream.net, and then of course from there under the products you can go to Wirecast. But yeah, I assume that's the best place that people want to find more information. Also, there was that resources page as well.
Yes, the resources page is the one you want. Again, it's under the Wirecast product area on telestream.net.
All right, very, very cool. And so with that, Tom, I'm going to say thank you so much for coming on. This has been a bit geeky, but at the same time, folks, I kid you not, this is about the same software that we use here behind the scenes at Computer America. It's very interesting to talk with the company that does this and does it so, so completely. And so, Tom, I want to thank you for coming on to Computer America. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I always like to talk about live streaming.
And it was great to listen to you. And folks, once again, Telestream, Tom Preen, he is the senior product manager. Tom, once again, thank you so much. And hey, have a great Thanksgiving break.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. And there he goes, everyone. So yeah, if you want to check that out, Telestream, the prices, the gear starts at about $5,000, goes up to about $8,000, whereas the software itself starts at about $700 and then caps out at about $1,000. And while the numbers seem large, you're also getting bundles of other software included. So that is of course very important as you get into live streaming, having all the tools available to you. That a complete novice is probably going to find a lot of that overwhelming, but to professionals or someone who wants to make something really stand out, well, that's the kind of stuff that you're going to need. So there you have it. And folks, we have time for just one story here at Computer America. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Computer and technology news brought to you by Fire Dragon Security. Here we go. All right, why don't we, let's see, why don't we start with this story? Well, actually, why don't we start and end with this story where, sorry, we could do things such as, a record number of cable cutters, cut the cord, or we could talk about how Uber is ordering about 24,000 Volvo for its self-driving fleet. As in, yes, Uber is going to have a self-driving fleet, so no longer having drivers. Hey, that's a thing. But instead, we're going to do this one because it's so weird, and at the same time, it's so weird that you can't not talk about it. So you can check this out. We have a link to it in the show notes. But for $10,000, it's a very expensive stream today. But for $10,000, Colonel Sanders wants to hug you and cut off your cell phone signal. And we have a picture of it right here. But yeah, Colonel Sanders, KFC, where KFC has launched lots of gadgets in the past. And of course, this coming from The Verge, they routinely covered them. But this past week, the fried chicken company introduced a different kind of gadget, which is a massive Faraday cage. For those of you not up to speed on your technology terms, that is something that will essentially block any kind of current going in and out, or any kind of radio frequencies, cell phone signal, Wi-Fi network, anything. Faraday cage will block it. So they call it the Internet Escape Pod, and features a drumstick-shaped door handle, there you go, with a massive Colonel Sanders atop it. And the dome is constructed out of steel and stainless steel mesh, a high-density foam, and enamel paint. So this thing's going to last you through a few apocalypse. And it weighs about 8 pounds. Not bad, not bad. Only one model exists, and if you want it, you have to pay about $10,000. And how badly do you need to escape from the internet? Could you just put your phone in a box under your bed and walk away? Or do you need a $10,000 KFC branded tent with a chicken leg for a handle? And the author says that he's not going to judge you for wanting this, but yeah, you think you could probably cut yourself off from the internet for free. As in, it's always easier to not do something than it is to, well, let's face it, do something. So, $10,000 gets you an 8-pound Faraday cage with creepy Colonel Sanders hugging you, making sure that you are not paying attention to the internet and instead focusing on that delicious chicken. See, that was just weird, and couldn't help but stop it. You have to see the picture for this thing. It's something you definitely have to see. But again, some of the other stories that we're just not going to be able to get to, but are available in the show notes, include, of course, that horrible mass shooting in Texas. Well, the authorities and Apple are at it again, where the authorities want access to all of Apple's information on the perpetrator of the shooting, and Apple is willing to comply, but only within the bounds that they are able to, and that does not always meet the standards that authorities want. So we're going to hear about that, and of course a couple of other stories that you'll find at our website. So in the meantime, everyone, be sure to tune in tomorrow here on the program as we talk to new data security. Let's make sure I get this right. All right, so we actually have weird. We actually have 2 companies scheduled tomorrow. We'll make sure we'll get the right one on the program. But we have New Data Security, as well as Shure. And Shure makes microphones. They make great microphones. And New Data Security, well, hey, they're a security software provider. So everyone, tune in tomorrow for the mystery guest as we do more Computer America. And of course, catch you then, same time, same place, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Until then, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.